Alrighty, so we're gonna do something a little bit different today.
Yes.
We've taken great efforts to rank all of the Marvel movies.
All 19 Marvel movies.
And the way we've done this is we each made our own rank, added up the points basically in order to make an amalgamated rank.
Well, should we kick things off?
Yes.
Bottom of the pile, number 19, Thor: The Dark World.
5 words. Kat Dennings has a sidekick.
I can do it for you in 4 words.
Oh yeah?
Thor: The Dark World.
A lot of really flat humor that goes nowhere. I think Darcy is probably on like an objective level the worst recurring character in the MCU.
Yeah, if I have to hear the phrase Mew Mew again, I might have to kill something. And the villain here was so unmemorable.
Bottom of the pile for
don't
villains.
even, yeah, who was the villain?
Malekith, the Dark Elf King.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, terrible.
Number 18, Captain America, the First Avenger. I definitely remember being worried for the Avengers at that point.
Yes, totally agreed. I mean, I just remember leaving extremely disappointed from the theater when I first watched it.
It's got like 3 montages in it, guys.
Oh my god. The war is done in montage form.
Now, to be fair, the USO montage was pretty great, where he's punching Hitler over and over again.
Right, yeah, that was funny.
It was a pretty solid movie right up until he joins the war.
Yeah, I liked how they did the super soldier serum. I liked how he wanted to join the army, but he just wasn't good enough. Until, right, just up to becoming Captain America, the movie was fine. Next up, number 17, Thor. Now, I liked the first Thor at the time.
Yeah, I remember liking it a lot more the first time. I think a lot of that is just because I was surprised that a Thor movie worked.
Yeah, but then watching it a third or so time, I was like, no, it's still not a good film.
There's some decent, like, fish out of water comedy in it.
Yeah, and I like the character of Thor, and I actually like seeing his development over the multiple films.
Yeah.
So, good parts, but overall, eh.
Number 16, Iron Man 3.
Oh boy.
Now, this is kind of the first one that we had a little bit of contention with.
Yeah.
I don't love Iron Man 3, but I do like it, and I think a lot of the stuff done with Tony Stark's character arc in this movie is pretty great. I also really love the fake out with the villain. I know you really don't.
Oh my god, it's just weak. I feel like that was maybe one of the first movies where they were trying something a little different, but it just fell a little flat for me personally.
Yeah.
Number 15, Iron Man 2.
Well, I want my butt.
So I liked the villain in this one.
I want my butt.
There was something so personal in the villain-hero relationship, and later on we'll talk about Iron Man 1, but I like those personal relationships. It's part of what I like about Thor as well. A very real motivation that the villain has.
Okay, I kind of see what they're trying to go for, this like dark mirror of the hero, but I've seen that done so much better, and this just felt to me.
Fair enough.
Number 14, Marvel's The Avengers.
It was okay.
It's fine. I don't think this one has aged well.
I mean, Captain America in that goofy-ass suit.
Well, there's that. At the time, it was a big deal.
The struggle that it must have been to, like, balance the, screen time for the different heroes and the character arcs and all, it must have been, like, almost impossible.
Yeah, and I could definitely see a lot of execs being nervous about, hey, it's a movie you have to have watched 5 other movies to fully appreciate.
Yeah.
At the time, this was seen as a huge risk that paid dividends for them, but this kind of thing has been done better and with more substance again in the future. Which brings us to
number 13, The Avengers Age of Ultron. There was a bit more depth.
It's like a better, more substantive version of the first Avengers.
Right.
This time we've actually got a villain with some motivation besides like, I want to conquer the world.
The motivation that the villain has, I've seen many times before. It's a very common sci-fi trope. Oh, the AI
like
believes
Terminator.
It. Exactly. A lot of the characters that were introduced, like Vision, yo, please leave.
Number 12, Black Panther. Some really, really terrific art direction.
Oh god, yes. The art direction and the setting really helped make it stand out.
It's definitely very unique,
yeah,
that's for sure. And one of the stronger villains in the MCU.
Very interesting motivation. The added element of some mysticism was nice.
I think that the hero needed a little bit more meat to his character.
Worked well because he'd already been established in a previous Marvel movie, but if Black Panther had come out before some of the movies that I think are higher up, Black Panther would probably actually be higher up.
Yeah.
Number 11,
Ant-Man.
So Ant-Man is an interesting one. Again, sort of interchangeable with Black Panther. It was all right. The comedy was really nice.
I think that a lot of what with Ant-Man is that everyone was kind of expecting this to be the one that kind of failed.
Yeah.
With the whole behind-the-scenes stuff with Edgar Wright pulling out of the movie and all that. But no, you kind of got to step back and go, Marvel really doesn't know how to fail with these things.
Yeah.
Number 10, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. If you go back and watch our earlier review, we were both sort of like, yeah, it was okay.
Yeah.
But now, I like it a lot more than I did before, and you like it a lot less than you did before. All of the character stuff is fantastic. And I even really like the villain as well.
Okay.
In that he's got this crazy plan that is insane, but he thinks it's the right thing to do, and so he's willing to sacrifice the things that he loves to make that crazy plan a reality.
For me, I felt like all of the characters, sure, they got a piece. However, those pieces didn't really work together or come together to push the overall plot of the story further. There were a lot of relationships being developed that just didn't mean anything for this movie. And then on top of that, as far as the villain's concerned, the ending was literally him, like, jizzing all over the planets across the world. That was literally what they were doing. Number 9, Thor Ragnarok. I thought it was great. For me, it's a little bit higher up in the list, I think.
I just think that this was where the Marvel fatigue was settling in on me a little bit.
Oh, yeah?
On the one hand, the first two Thor movies, I think, are two of the weaker movies in this franchise.
Yeah.
On the other hand, this movie is the best out of them, but it's, I think, removing a lot of what made Thor unique as a hero. He kind of just feels like Star-Lord again in this movie, in that he's constantly throwing these jokes out there all the time, and
he's trying to copy me.
You know what? Actually, it was more of a Guardians of the Galaxy movie. We're seeing a side of these worlds that we haven't seen before in the Thor movies, despite having Asgard and Frost, whatever. It's
Jotunheim.
Jotunheim. It's all been kind of like... Whereas this felt very different, and that's why I liked it. And it felt like Guardians meets Thor, I guess.
Number 8, The Incredible Hulk. I like this movie a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. Standout Hulk movie. I liked the kind of setting it was in, where it was like this runaway scientist who had this problem. Yeah. It was an interesting angle to take. Not really an origin story.
Right.
So yeah, I thought it was an interesting take on a story we'd seen before.
That's true. That's a really good point. I like that this is not an origin story, because we so did not need another Hulk origin story.
Oh dear Lord, yeah. We got that. I think there was a prologue that was like maybe a minute long.
Yeah. There's an opening montage where he became the Hulk, and that's all you need.
Bruce Banner, Radiation, Hulk, go. Number 7, Guardians of the Galaxy. This broke the fatigue that we were feeling. I wasn't super familiar with the characters from the comics or anything, but my god, did it absolutely blow my mind with its sense of humor, its style, its panache, the music. Like, it was great on basically all fronts. I think the only place where this movie maybe fails, saying that really loosely, is the villain kind of was very...
Yeah, that could get fixed in Captain Marvel.
Right.
We'll see.
We'll see.
I have some criticisms. I didn't feel that the coming together of the team felt organic. I thought it was a little forced, where they kind of go from all hating each other to all of a sudden, we're a team.
Okay, yeah, that's fair.
But it's a really, really good movie.
I'm high on believing that you're in love with me. I'm hooked on a feeling.
Number 6, Doctor Strange. Benedict Cumberbatch plays the crap out of the role.
Exactly, yeah.
The villain fight at the end is a unique one where it's a
game of wits.
I was about to say wits, but it almost honestly isn't. It's a battle of attrition. For a movie that, at the time that it was made, should have felt really stale and really kind of been there, done that, it didn't, which was really impressive, and I'm honestly not even completely sure how.
His character arc feels like it accomplishes a lot, from him being this super egotistical, self-centered, skeptic individual to completely flipping all of that on its head over the course of, what, like a 2-hour movie?
Yeah.
Very well done, visually beautiful, interesting ending. Yeah. Number 5, Captain America: The Winter Soldier. The scale of it grew appropriately. We were dealing with bigger topics.
I like a lot of the stuff with S.H.I.E.L.D. in this one. There's a lot of shades of gray to this movie where it's a commentary, definitely, on the current state of the relationship between the government and the people. One of the smarter Marvel movies. It felt like a political spy thriller that just happened to star Captain America.
Yeah, I agree. It was a smarter film. A lot of the other movies are just dumb fun.
Plus, the action in this movie is really great.
Oh, yeah.
Number 4, Captain America: Civil War. This is my personal favorite Marvel movie, I think.
Okay.
It's got these two conflicting ideologies, and there's valid points to both of them.
Yeah.
The villain in this one is not a dude who can punch the heroes really hard.
Right.
He's just a guy who's pulling the strings from behind the scene, which I thought was refreshing as well.
Yeah, I mean, Civil War has a lot of really high notes. I didn't agree with one of the ideologies, so that's a very personal thing, I admit. And it just didn't really make sense, some of the decisions that were being made.
I agree. There's a few decisions made by characters in this movie that are a bit of a reach. I just think that this movie does a really good job of like tearing down the heroes that had sort of been built up over the course of these, several films at this point.
All right, I've run out of patience. On to roost!
Hey everyone.
Number 3, SpiderMan Homecoming. I have to say the best Spider-Man we've had to date.
I disagree.
I know you disagree.
It's a close second for me.
Fair enough. Tom Holland is an excellent Spider-Man.
Yeah.
We're seeing, a sense of humor that's different from Guardians and different from Iron Man. It's a lot more juvenile, but it doesn't feel like a kid's movie juvenile, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the villain
Yes.
was really interesting.
Easily the best MCU villain. I'm throwing down the gauntlet.
Oh yeah? Oh yeah? Alright, well I'm
throwing
saving
down the Infinity Gauntlet.
I'm saving the gauntlet for the person who actually has the gauntlet.
Michael Keaton is absolutely fantastic as Adrian Toomes, aka the Vulture, in this film. He is easily the most relatable villain, even if you don't think he's the best. He's just a dude who wants to make ends meet for his family.
Yeah.
I mean, that's something that, tons of people can relate to. Also, the other thing that is really, really great about this movie is it has some of the smallest stakes out of any Marvel movie. The stakes are, is a guy gonna steal some stuff?
Yeah.
Or can Spider-Man stop him?
And they did it so well, and they paralleled the Iron Man thing. The only thing I liked about Iron Man 3 was the whole suit thing. They paralleled that so nicely, and it just made the character so much better than he's ever been before.
Speaking of Iron Man, that's the other thing, is more development for Tony Stark in this movie, too, which was also great.
Yeah, and setting up a wonderful relationship that we saw develop in Infinity War. Yeah.
Number 2, Iron Man.
It's crazy to think that the one that kind of kicked this all off is still so high up on the list.
Tony Stark, I'd say, is still probably at his best in this movie. Just the dynamic between Stark and all of the other characters is great. Still one of the better villains, honestly, in the MCU, in Obadiah Stane. And Jeff Bridges is great in that role.
We're getting an origin story, but again, the relationships we're seeing, it felt a lot more personal. Even the villain's relationship with the hero was extremely personal.
They did a really good job building up the dynamic between those two. And number 1, Avengers Infinity War. Hot diggity damn!
Yeah, and this is not just because we're still reveling off the hype of the movie.
Probably is a little bit.
Maybe a touch.
This movie shouldn't work.
Yeah.
But it does, and it's kind of incredible.
They knew exactly what to exclude and exactly what to focus on. Let's really dig in to the bad guy. This is where, in my mind, the gauntlet remains.
Okay.
Definitely the best villain. The threat was a constant. It wasn't about the threat. We've known the threat for the last, what, 10...
6 years.
17... 6 years?
6 years.
Feels like 30. We've known about the threat for a while. It's about the relationships. Marvel movies really nail the interpersonal relationships, and I hope they keep that trend going with the future movies as well.
Well, that's our list.
Yeah, our definitely will never change, and we won't change our mind when we turn the mic off.
Yeah.
Top 20 list of the 19 Marvel movies. Why couldn't they make it 20?
Get Ant-Man and the Wasp out there a couple.
Right.
Just switch those 2 release dates. Make it number 20. It's kind of ridiculous.
Easy to do.
Thank you very much for watching Bull Session. I know this is a little bit of a different kind of video today. Please leave a comment down below listing your favorite Marvel movies. If you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button and subscribe on your way out. We've got some other videos up here on the screen for you to watch as well. Thanks very much again, and take care.
It's the